Okay. Hey, it's Coach Mary Beth. I am here with a current seedling, and I would love to introduce you guys to Molly. I'm going to ask Molly some questions, but first I want to give her a chance to introduce herself. And Molly, would you just tell us about what has your path been like from starting, I guess, to where you are now?
Wow, I have done it all. I started off, my mom actually raised us pretty healthy. We had to eat broccoli on pizza night. We didn't have a
Okay.
whole lot of money.
Uh-huh.
So when we got pizza like once a month, we ate broccoli with it.
Nice.
We ate cottage cheese and pineapple, and I can remember her doing pizza crust with like whole wheat, and I hated it, and I hated
Yeah.
every minute of it. And when I moved out of the house, the first thing I did was buy some Wonder Bread and ate probably the whole loaf.
Nice.
I have always struggled with my weight. I didn't know that I had an insulin resistance problem.
Mhm.
I did the Hallelujah diet, which was an all raw foods diet. I was juicing carrots until the palms of my hands turned orange. I transitioned from that. It was a horrible, horrible detox. And I was heavy. I was really heavy. Um, I was a vegetarian for a while. This was me as a vegetarian,
Wow.
really super healthy there.
Uh-huh. Super
Who is this
healthy.
person? Who gave her
Who is
cake?
that person?
I know. My
Not
kids
even look like you.
gave her cake. And then I did the Atkins diet. I did Weight Watchers. I did everything. You name it, I've probably done it. South Beach, keto,
Mm-hmm.
every last thing. And then a very dear friend of mine, introduced me to Trim Healthy Mama and Food Freedom. And I was like, this is it. This is amazing. I can have all of the foods, and it's great. And so then I really became grateful for the fact that my mom did introduce me to those healthier foods
Mm-hmm.
earlier, because they didn't taste so foreign to me.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Yeah. And it wasn't hard for you to get into eating them because you just were used to that from childhood.
although I will tell you, it was hard for me, Mary Beth, to eat vegetables with my breakfast. But what it has done for my blood sugar has been amazing. So,
Yes. Yeah. No, it really, like, I am the vegetable queen, and it is because they do so many good things. And I feel like just here recently, I have been learning even more about the goodness of vegetables at every meal, yes, even breakfast, and the cascade effect that that has on just really all over your body during the day. So every time I learned another new fact, I'm like, I've already been telling people to do that. This is why vegetables are amazing. They're so amazing. I don't even know all the amazing things about them. So yeah. Okay. Well, um, kind of leading on from that. So you say you tried all the things. What made you try seedlings? What about that you were like, I think I'll
well, in the very
just one
beginning,
last
it was
thing to go.
God. It was God that made me try seedlings. But besides that, I came to seedlings afraid. I had been on Ozempic for 40 weeks. I was
Okay.
prescribed it for type 2 diabetes. I really didn't lose a whole lot of weight while I was on it, maybe a few pounds. Towards the end of my time, I really started losing weight quickly,
Okay.
but I also realized I was losing a ton of muscle. Right at that time, I ended up going to Spain with my daughter, and we walked, and I was so tired and exhausted.
Mm.
So I was one of those people that it was really great for my blood sugar control. I could eat what I want, I could do what I wanted, but I went to I went to the pharmacist one day to pick up my prescription, and he said, "I'm sorry, we don't have it." And I was like, "Excuse me, what? That's my diabetic medication."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Yes, I know. And we're not filling it for people who don't have a diagnosis of diabetes, but hey, try Walgreens or CVS." So I went to both of those places. Nowhere in my county in Florida could I get the medication. And
Wow.
I really got
Even
a
as a diagnosed type 2 diabetic.
even as a diagnosed type 2 diabetic, I
That's
could
wild.
not at CVS, Walgreens, or my small Apollo pharmacy get the medication. And then I found out there just was none in the county unless you worked for the hospital.
Okay.
So although I can't tell you where she works, but I can tell you that my daughter works in a spa, and I could have driven up there. It's about 3 hours away, and gotten the injections to pay if I wanted to pay cash for them.
Sure. Yeah.
And that infuriated me
Mhm.
because as a type 2 diabetic, I felt like I needed this
Yes.
medication. And my doctor had prescribed it for me to control my sugars.
Right.
So it was very scary. So I was on Facebook one night. I was really trying hard to listen to the podcasts and eat the carbohydrates because I just really felt like my body needed them. I'm 53 years old, postmenopausal. I've had a hysterectomy, and you hear them say, you need the carbohydrates, you need the carbohydrates. And I could not figure out how to eat them. And so I'd had 2 pieces of sprouted Ezekiel bread, 5 grams of protein. And I was so upset because my sugars were just, even on the Ozempic, my sugars were still let's go back to the Ozempic. I was only on a half of a dose.
Okay.
And had horrible side effects. We can talk about that. We can not talk about that, whatever you want to do. So I had gotten to the point, because of the fear, I wanted to get off of the medication.
Okay.
So I had kind of decided I'm going to try this. My doctor said, go ahead. It's fine. Whatever you want to do. She really has just whatever I want to do.
Right.
So I remember posting on Facebook my meal and that I had such a huge rise, and somebody tagged somebody else, which was you, and said, do you know what a pulled back E is? And I had no idea. I was like, what is that? I know I'm supposed to eat 45 grams of carbs. And you took the time to tell me what that was. I had no clue who you were. You didn't know me. I didn't know you. You took your time to tell me what that was. Hey, try this. And I was like, oh. And then I'm one of those sleuthy people. And so I clicked on your name and I found you, and I was like, oh, she's cute. And then I was like, oh, she lives where my mama lives. And then I was like, she's teaching this class. Well, what's that about? So then I clicked on that, and I found the blood sugar group, and it all just kind of started falling into place for me. Okay. But I do this every September. Every September, I'm going to start a diet. I'm not going to eat horrible because intuitively I know I don't need it. And I remember messaging you and saying, do you think I can do this at the holidays? And when you said to me, yes, you can, I was really very shocked, but something in me believed you. And I appreciate that because you did. You just were like, yeah, you can do this. And I have.
You have. Like, you really have. And it has been so fun to watch because you're just excited about it. And I feel like your excitement is very catching. And so it has just uplifted the spirit of the group even more than it would have been if you had not been there. So it's, yeah, I totally remember somebody tagging. I can't even remember who it was who tagged me, but I totally remember like that kind of cascade of events that happened. And just, yeah, I was like,
and I don't think I've ever told you this, but I did this whole thing where I went, okay, God, if you want me to do this, then you need to do this. And he was like, check.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, okay, whatever. If you want me to do this, God, then I'm going to wait till the very last day to sign up. And there's still going to be a slot for me, even though Mary Beth said that she was getting full, and God was like, check.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, really? Now I have to do this.
I have to do it.
I know.
But aren't you so glad that you did?
I am so very glad that I did. We're almost finished, and I'm so sad.
I know. It's sad. But the happy thing is that this ends right before all the Christmas crazy kicks off. And so you'll be good. You will be fine.
I will be. And Thanksgiving, and my birthday is November 24th.
Okay.
I thought it was hilarious. God, he's really got a sense of humor that I have to be accountable, because I told my girlfriend, I said, we're doing this together. And I said to her, I am doing this for 56 days. I'm going to do it 100%. She's like, nothing's perfect. No, I am going to commit to it for 56 days. Yes. And then I found out the last day was the 25th of November. And I was like, where's my cake? Now what do I do? So now I have to make my own cake.
Yep, but you've been doing some good research, and I feel like you've got some very good recipes. I do still owe you. I was busy searching for those crackers that we were talking about earlier. So I will go get my Trim Healthy Indulgence out and find you some goodies.
Okay.
It's a
I have the book.
okay. We'll get ready. So what do you think now that you're 2/3 of the way through the course? What would you say is the just what's been your biggest takeaway so far, and what I guess how has that takeaway impacted your health?
I want to say that was probably the hardest question for me to answer. So now I really want to learn. I want to look at my notes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is that part of what has been the most useful for you, and how has that impacted your health? Okay, can I just like read straight from here? I
Yeah,
feel like
go for it. Go for it.
Okay. Mary Beth, I appreciated you giving me these ahead of time and not just being like, here you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wrote that I am learning how what I eat directly influences my blood sugar almost minute by minute, because I do. I have the privilege of having a glucose monitor, and that has been amazing. I have never really taken the time to plan meals according to the needs of my body. And like we talked about previously today, my body obviously needed that meal. I knew I needed it. I knew I needed those carbs. And my brother-in-law was coming tonight, and I ate the lentils. And I was just shocked at the way that my body reacted. So I'm learning that my body does need the carbs, when they need them,
Right.
why they need them. It really kind of has been mind-blowing to me that I can't eat carbs at night. Like, my body just does not like them. But you have always said to us, this is what my body likes. You have to figure out what your body likes. And I was in the beginning, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. That's not very easy, but
Right.
it's not. It's
No, it's
really
not.
not. And my body is very different than yours, I've learned. And that has kind of been one of my biggest takeaways, is that I need to do the research. I need to pay attention to my own body. And I feel like you have given me the tools to learn how to do that. And I felt very, very comfortable with the fact of you being a type 1 diabetic, you know, all of the things.
Yes.
I mean, even like when I said to you, hey, Mary Beth, I'm wearing my monitor on my stomach, you know, I didn't put it on my arm right. And I really appreciate that, because you know, you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that is one of the things I feel like that the Lord has allowed me to do. I mean, nobody wants to be diabetic of any type, but I tell moms with newly diagnosed kids that I have lived all over the world. I have done pretty much anything I wanted to do. Diabetes has not held me back, but that I feel like God has presented me with this amazing opportunity to help people figure it out. And it is a very figure outable illness to have. And it does not have to hold you back from the things that you want to do with your life. And, you know, I tell the moms, I'm like, this is not a club you ever wanted to be a part of. But as far as crappy clubs go, like this is an all right one, actually.
Yes.
Like, once you figure out what you're doing, like, you will be fine, and your kid will excel, and they will soar, and probably they'll become really good problem solvers, and they'll have to think outside of the box about things, because that's what it is. That's the approach that you have to take to blood sugar. What are all the factors that are factoring into this blood sugar at this time? You know, there's so many things that affect blood sugar. And so,
and even the stress, like I had seen some of the girls and their numbers and talked about stress. And I was like, okay, well, I'm stressed, but at the beginning of this week, I had a little bit of a crisis, and my numbers were just through the roof. And I thought, wow, okay, that is what stress does.
Yeah. Well, and aren't you glad to know that that's what that was? Or, I mean, same with people when they are at their different parts of their cycle, whether you're still having a period or not having a period, your hormones are still cycling. And so to know that, like, certain weeks of the month, your numbers are just going to run a little bit higher. And that doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. That just means that hormones are at play. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are really comforted and, like you say, like, empowered with the tools to know what is going on with their bodies by the end of Seedlings. And
Very much so.
that is, I think, my greatest joy and excitement is having people be empowered, because diabetes is a bit of a mystery. Like it's, you feel better. Like once your blood sugars get better, you do feel better, but you maybe don't know why you're feeling better. And I feel like that is what Seedlings does, is it unpacks the mystery for people.
It very much does. I
Of
fully
life.
agree. Just like I had that same meal 3 days in a row and my sugars just kept spiking and spiking. And you and Amanda were so willing to work with me to figure out what it was, what's going on. And just the fact that my body does not really enjoy two sources of carbohydrates in the same meal. I never would have come up with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
yep. It's just what a good little detective. Yes. So can you give maybe an example? I guess that's a good example actually of just the experience of working with myself, and then there's another coach, Amanda, who helps with Seedlings. What would you say stands out about our coaching, or just the way that your Seedlings experience has been being coached? What's it been like to be coached?
Oh my gosh, I wrote a whole entire book on that because I just could not contain myself. I don't even know where to begin. It has been so different. I took one other course, and then I got COVID and I just didn't go back to it. And this course has been so engaging. Every single day there's something new. It's just put together so well, but it's not so much that the newness, you're going, oh my gosh, this is so new. I can't stand this. I can't do this. Because let's face it, new things are hard.
Yes.
And it's been challenging. And I'm not going to say this has been super easy, because it has not been. I've had to food prep. I've had to make sure. And I think part of that was because I was determined to do this for 56 days.
Yes.
So I made sure that I had the things, just like you encouraging us to be prepared, but not only be prepared, what's in your bag? Let me see it. And I really, really enjoy the fact that you encourage us to work together with each other and be supportive. There's none of that, well, this person's numbers look better than yours and they ate that, and why aren't you doing that? Or if I've noticed, like if somebody says, well, I've been sick or I haven't gotten you those numbers, that you are very firm, but you are very empathetic with it, and you understand that life happens.
Sure.
And sometimes you'll even be like, hey, that happened, and how are your sugars doing from that? So I have felt super supportive. Anytime I've needed anything, I can ask. Somebody's on it with an answer. Here's a recipe. Here's the data to back that up. I love that. This is what I've said, but hey, here's some information on why we do this and why it works. And as an info geek, that really matters to me.
Yes.
I want to know. I'm that person that always questions the status quo. Oh, you want me to take antibiotics for that? Because why?
Yeah,
I don't
why?
need that.
Why?
That's me. I'm always like, why? Why? And you both have worked very well with giving us that why. So,
and I think that's because both of us work that way too. I always say I can get on board with basically anything as long as I understand the reason why you're wanting me to do that. If I'm not satisfied with your reason why, then I'm probably not going to be on board to do that, and I will push back and buck the system a little bit.
Is there a better option? If this is what you want me to do, but maybe it's got, some side effects, or it's got some not so good parts to it. Is there another way to do that better?
Yes.
And that's kind of how I ended up here at Seedlings. was because what I was doing was working, but I
Right.
was also living in fear.
Hmm.
And so I wanted a way to, if I have to go live out in the forest and
Sure.
eat berries and
Yeah.
squirrels and not have my drugs, I want to be able to do
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Yes. You'll get in a lot of good grounding doing that.
Exactly.
You'll be correct. Okay, well, thank you for that. What can we talk about some changes that you have seen in just your energy level, your mood, your blood sugar control, medication needs, any of that stuff? Like what are kind of the non-scale things that have changed in your life because of all of this?
So I kind of have to try kind of hard to go because I haven't lost a whole lot of weight, but I have a friend who also came off of Ozempic the same time as I have, and she's gained 40 pounds.
Whoa.
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 So I am being thankful that I have not gained any weight back.
Mhm.
In fact, I've lost about 2,
Okay.
which, hey, that's great.
That's great.
My clothes are fitting a little bit differently, although now because I've started working out because I
Mhm.
can, I have had to buy exercise clothes and they're tighter and it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Yep.
But I'm I'm able to exercise.
Mhm.
Like, okay, first of all, just the whole thing with the calf raises and that, and okay, if
Mhm.
you can't get off your couch and exercise, then sit on your couch and exercise.
Right. Right.
So there was that. And then it
Mhm.
was, I'm supposed to be having a knee replacement at the
Mhm.
beginning of next year.
Okay.
And I need to be strong for that. And
Sure. Yeah.
so I have been able to go and work out and do
Mhm.
my rehab, work with the therapist. I've had the
Mhm.
energy to do that. And I've had the strength to do that
Mhm.
because I have not been having those blood sugar swings.
Yes.
Those were debilitating for me because I always thought, if I am lower,
Mhm.
that's okay. But
Mhm.
if I came from, way up here
Yep.
and that
And
dip
then
is so
dropped.
far, yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm sleeping better. I'm able to exercise. My moods have been better.
Mhm.
And like I said, I am not on a semaglutide GLP-1 anymore.
Mhm. Mhm.
I take one extended release metformin, the end.
Okay.
And so my time in range, not only has my time in range increased from
Mhm.
being in seedlings, but my what's it called?
Your
My
just your
point
graph.
my
Mhm.
points. So
Yes.
instead of, because you said your doctor says you can go up, you can go 85 points.
Mhm.
And you like 65.
Mhm.
My points are between, like, if I have a 65-point jump, I get upset.
Yes. Yes.
I'm like
Exactly.
going, what's wrong?
What's going on?
And you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
So my point range is like between 30 and 50.
That's awesome.
It
That
is.
is awesome, Molly.
I want my A1C now.
I know. I know. I like I love there's a lot of people who have an A1C and then with seedlings happens and then the next time they go like there's a big drop and it's just so much fun because you're like here's
The scale may not have moved, but my A1C dropped so much.
yes, yes. Well, and just so much of weight loss and like sustained ongoing health is that you get all your blood sugars in line and then slowly but surely it is genuinely a slow and steady wins the race kind of mindset that you have to have because as you fix the foundational things in your body, then just the rest of it gets in line.
And on that
Eventually,
topic,
it's the long game.
yes. And on that topic, I had been working on my inflammation
Mm-hmm.
um, with my gynecologist and my
Mm-hmm.
hormone doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been no working during seedlings. It just is. So I'm eating the
Mm-hmm.
vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
I'm balancing every meal with the proteins. And
Mm-hmm.
because I kind of thought, oh, I can't work on that too while I'm doing this. So I
Sure.
kind of put it on the
Sure.
back burner. But I've noticed that my joints are less swollen. I don't ache as much.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really wild to me. So
Yeah.
I've had a reduce in inflammations through seedlings also.
Absolutely. And that's because we're working on your insulin resistance, which is the foundational piece of inflammation. You start having insulin resistance, that leads to inflammation, which it's just a knock-on effect from there. So as we deal with the foundational issue of, some might call it the root cause of your insulin resistance, then that just fixes so many other things, which again, that's why I'm such a passionate crusader against insulin resistance, because it really genuinely is the foundation for disease in the body. That is the base of everything. And so if you can fix that, then you fix your cardiac health, you fix your brain health, you fix your neurological health. All of those things are better by addressing your insulin resistance. And so if we can get that in line, you're really good and golden. It lowers the chance of stroke, of heart attack, of cancer. It just brings everything down. And that is what we want. That's the whole reason why we do all the things we do, isn't it? So yeah. We encountered all the knee stuff a couple of weeks ago when that happened, and it's just been really cool to watch you be able to continue to exercise and continue to do the things that you were doing, because we've really gotten your diet, like the things that you're putting in your mouth are helping to fix the issue. And I mean, yes, you still are going to have surgery, that still needs to be repaired,
I
but
don't
your
know.
recovery time from all that,
I
your
don't
recovery
know.
time, well, I mean, Jesus, and that would be amazing. But your recovery time afterwards is going to be so much better, because you're not going to be inflamed, and you will have been able to build up the muscles to aid in the recovery. So
exactly.
Having watched my dad had a double knee replacement a year and a half ago, and it was a big deal, and it was really hard. And so I'm like, Dad, if you had been able to work on that some before, that would have been, the recovery would be better. But
yes,
I'm glad that you're able to do that now. I think that's going to help you so much.
And while you were talking about my knee, my brain kind of wandered off to, I remember when I started, I had, and I still do have, the plantar fasciitis. And I have been having some treatments on that, and it's kind of been working, but I believe that the seedlings has also really helped that. In fact, I went, oh my gosh, I don't have my shoes on, and it's like late. So I have spent the entire day walking around
with no shoes, girl.
with no shoes on.
I've had plantar fasciitis twice, and it is no joke. It's awful. So
it is.
that's
And
awesome.
so
That's a big win.
It is a big win. The fact that I just walked around, because I'm a barefoot person. I always want to be barefoot, but I've had shoes on my feet for the last 8 weeks, almost 24/7. And I just realized when you were saying that I have walked around today without it. So that's obviously way better.
Yeah, way better.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, last question. Can you tell me just about the kind of the community aspect of Seedlings and what that has been like for you? How has the accountability of the course worked? And have the other members of Seedlings kind of aided in the accountability, or does it just mostly fall to the coaches? Like what's your kind of take on how the community aspect has helped along the way?
I love the community aspect. I love seeing all of the other women. I love chatting with them. In fact, one of them, we've become kind of friends and started talking on Marco Polo, which I'm like, oh, that's so fun.
Love that so much.
Just in seeing, it's been nice to see like what the other women eat and what you and Amanda say back to them. So, and my thought process also has kind of been that, well, if I'm looking at theirs, they're looking at mine. And if before I put that in my mouth, do I really want to have to tell them that I did that?
Yeah.
And not that it's not okay that I'm not perfect or that, but I don't want to be a stumbling block to somebody else. So you have to think about that also in the community. And it has really, really been a nice, not a break, but it's just been nice having a community and surrounding of like-minded women who have
Hmm.
the same goals as you.
Yes, yes.
Um,
And the
and
same struggles.
yes, we have the same goals, we have the same struggles, you know, and in the beginning I thought, oh well, I don't have children anymore, and some of these people have babies, and
Hmm.
how is this gonna work? And it's just been such a blessing to see, you know, when mama's up all night because the baby's been up all night, that
Hmm.
affects her sugar.
Hmm.
And so it kind of makes me think, well, what am I doing that affects my sugar?
Hmm.
So it's been really, really nice to have that community of people and to be able to have somebody else to answer to,
Yeah,
not like nitpicky,
sure,
just
sure.
just the camaraderie is
Hmm.
amazing, and I've
Yeah,
really, really enjoyed it. It's just a lovely, lovely group of women,
yeah.
and I love it.
No, this is a really good, really quality group of ladies that are in this group of y'all. And I mean, I feel the same way. I don't know. My aunt is a lot of diabetic, so she has type 1.5, and she
Mhm.
lives close to me, so I see her a fair bit, and we text pretty regularly. But she's the only other in-person diabetic I know, and so for me to be able to also have this community of people who are all struggling with the same things I struggle with, and who are just walking the same road, it is really nice just to go, these people understand what I'm talking about. Like, I can say this to them and they're not going to like recoil in horror. They're going to be like, oh girl, yeah, I get that. I'm with you there.
Yes.
And it's so nice to be able to know that when I say something that I know y'all are going to empathize with me. You're not going to sympathize, but you're going to be able to feel it on a different level. And that's, even as the coach, like, that's still a nice spot for me to be into. And it's
Mhm.
something that I really, really, really love about coming together with the weird thing that unifies us. It's
Yes,
this weird disease, but it's a good thing. And it's just it's a good thing out of a negative thing.
it is.
So
And
yeah.
I really feel like just having these women and even you as a coach that have, whether it's type 1 or type 2 diabetes, we all kind of
Mhm.
struggle with the same thing, and keeping those numbers in line, and what goes in our mouth immediately influences so
Mhm.
many parts of our body. And it
Mhm.
was very, very important to me to have you as a coach be doing the same thing. So
Mhm.
you are not asking us to do something that you're not doing yourself.
Right.
You're not
Right.
sitting back there without diabetes, even
Mhm.
though yours is autoimmune and mine
Yeah.
is not.
Yeah.
It was still very comforting to know she's doing this too.
Mhm.
She
Yeah.
is eating vegetables with her breakfast. She's
Mhm.
carrying this stuff around in her car if she
Mhm.
needs it. It just was very, very comforting to me to have like-minded individuals.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I wouldn't ask anybody to do something that I would not be willing to do myself, even burpees. The dreaded burpee. Um, Good. Well, thank you so much, Molly, for sharing all of that with us and
So
just
welcome.
talking through your experience. I think it's so valuable to hear from people who have been through it and who just, it's like you're looking back and you're lighting the way for other people to
Thank
see that
you.
there is a path to freedom. And I mean, I would even say to victory over it. I don't feel like that diabetes is a thing. Yes, obviously it's something that I think about a lot because it is my life as a type 1, but it doesn't take over my thinking. It's not all consuming.
Yes.
And so it's nice to be able to share that with you guys who walk down this road too. I'm lighting y'all's way and y'all are lighting it.
Yes, you are, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah,
And
you
thank
are
you for
very
reaching
welcome.
out that very first time.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I did. I feel like that was, yes, very fortuitous
I
and a
agree.
godsend for sure.